All right, so we're live and we're looking at a little loading screen with Philip Chandler's art. Philip Chandler, really cool indie cartoonist and animator and follower of the show. And he sent this to me yesterday, and I thought it was cool. All right, let's get into the show. Okay, so I'm Joshua Kemble, and I just wanted to show off Philip's amazing art and encourage you guys to subscribe to his channel. I'm going to be working on comics today, and without like messing around too much, I thought I'd start doing a live stream. So basically, what I'm working on, I'm not going to do too many pitches. Like, you guys can check out the books that I've already made: Jacob's Apartment and Two Stories at joshuakemble.com. And I'll play probably trailers for that as we go. But today during the live stream, my goal is to do the next roughs. So I'm working on a book called Not Death But Love: The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And my goal is to hopefully like do some roughs for quite a few pages today. So that's kind of my big goal for the day. This is me starting the day. So yesterday we finished page 30. Hold on a sec. Let me double check what page we finished. It was a fun stream too yesterday. I have to say, like, we had Philip Chandler and multiple other guests, Frank Salazar, and it was a lot of fun. And anyhow, it was a cool stream. It was very exciting. Christopher Runciman too was on. He has a great channel as well. And so we were just talking and working on comics. And as I'm kind of talking, I'm kind of delaying a little bit because I'm trying to. Okay, so we're on page 32. We finished page 32. So that leaves 198 pages left to do on this project. So what I'm going to be working on is roughing out page 33. And all I have to do before I start showing the art on stream is basically make sure that I'm on the correct side of the page. So there's recto and verso are like the two sides. And I believe the recto side is the side that, Corey said 198 to go. So I believe recto is the right side. I'm trying to memorize those terms because I guess like actual book designers use those two terms instead of left and right. It's like verso and recto, I think, is what they call it, which is a weird sounding phrase, but I want to start using the proper terminology since I finally just learned it. But anyhow, so I think that since we're on an odd page, it should technically be on the right. So what I need to do is copy my rough template, like an existing rough template. And all I need to make sure I do, in theory, for the roughs, is just copy one of the rough templates that I have for a right side page. So it would be another, so I'll probably take what I have for page 31. And I'm going to make a copy of that and just call it page 32. And then we're going to start on completely new roughs. So we're kind of, sorry, my goodness, I was about to change that to 32. 33. Apparently this is going to be a counting stream where Josh learns how to count. All right. And then we got Ronnie Gunter of Crimson Owl Comics saying, "What's up, everyone? How's it going, Ronnie? I hope all is going well for you." I do want to show you guys this just in case you missed the stream yesterday. I'm still extremely flattered. So Philip Chandler, friend of the show, we met at, I talked about him and actually showed him in person on my TCAF vlog where I was kind of recapping TCAF. And during one of my live streams, he did this hilarious and amazing sketch of me, and I'm really flattered by it. So let me show it off real quick one more time. Boom. That cracked me up. I thought that was amazing. So I again, like, guy has mad talent, and that made my day yesterday. All right, so let's get into the thick of it. I'm going to go ahead and this is a stream where I'm going to be doing roughs. So I'm going to be talking through the process of kind of breaking down this script and doing research and stuff like that as we go. So this is a research stream, which should be pretty cool. And also your chance to find out what happens next in the story. Let's see here. So this is the script written by my sister, Lavender Vroman. And we're just going to kind of break down like page by page. But what I also need to do is correct this so that we're actually seeing. Let's see if that worked. Oh, it didn't work. Hang on a second. It is the one thing I will say that I don't like about OBS. There we go. Okay. So this is a copy of page 31. And the reason I copied page 31, again, it's going to be a right-facing page because our last page was a left-facing page that we finished yesterday. And basically, I have these templates kind of pre-made with the proper bleeds and safe areas set up as guides. And so in this case, like, why recreate the wheel? Like, if you already have an existing template, like it's a really effective way to work. So today will not be a stream with like a ton of guests or anything like that on it. I'll interact with chat, but mostly it's just, again, like this is the thought work, you know, the real brain work of comics, which is actually some of my favorite parts of comics. This is like that blue sky moment when the page can be anything, and I kind of enjoy the blue sky moment. And I think that most of us as creatives, like, this might be our favorite part. At least for me, this is my favorite and probably the most concentration requiring part of making comics, which is hilarious because a lot of people would associate roughs with like they're fast, they're quick, like it's super, super easy. For me, actually, this is where all the thinking work, all the conceptual work goes into comics, which to me is the real work of comics. So everything else is just icing on the cake. This is where we're baking the cake. So I really need to pay attention to the ingredients. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. How are you guys doing? Ronnie, how is everything going? And I hope you're having fun working on your stuff. And then Corey, how are you doing too, buddy? All right. I've got my coffee going. We're going to basically continue the story. And where we last left off, I have like the finished page here. Is this is the last page that we finished, printed out. And I print out pages so that I can put them back to back and kind of get a rough template of the signatures and like how they're working out. I'm going to keep this next to me just so that I can kind of remember the environment that they're in. But I think in this case, this is going to be a pretty quick rough, which I'm actually very excited about. So let's see what we can do here. I may not need a bunch of these references, but I do already have a bunch. The other nice thing about copying previous roughs is I have a bunch of layers with a bunch of references and research that I've already done. And that's going to be really helpful as well. Another thing that I'll do real quick before we kind of get into things, because actually having this printout might be kind of distracting. I'm just going to, I never saved a JPEG. My goodness, I need to like go back in time and like smack old Josh. So here we go. This is the page I finished yesterday. What I'm gonna do that I should have done yesterday is I'm going to save a JPEG of this that I can then show my publisher. Toward the end of the day, I'll upload this with whatever roughs I'm able to kind of get knocked out as well. So probably towards the beginning of the day, actually tomorrow will be when I do this, because I'll probably be working till about 2 a.m. Not on this particular stream. I'm hoping for this stream to just knock out one rough, and then we'll see where we get. But I'll be working late into the night and trying to get like a good chunk of roughs done for the script, so that I have some final pages to work on as well. Okay, and this is going to be saved as a JPEG. I know, very exciting times, guys. Don't worry, we'll be drawing soon. Okay, and then let's get to the web, and that's my web folder that I'm going to open up, and I just have to find final page. What is going on? Okay, there it is, page 32 final. Great, and I'm going to grab that JPEG and drag it over, just so I have that to reference. Like, it's not going to hurt to like be able to reference the environment. This does not look like the right page. Oh, that was page 8 final by accident. My goodness. I will tell you guys, like, as you're working on big projects like this, like, and Gary, who's just joining us, I think is pretty incredible at this too. But like, one thing that I find vital on jobs like this that I had to learn the hard way is you really want to keep your files organized, because when you start talking about hundreds of pages of comics, and you're talking about, you know, thousands of panels, it's going to get crazy if you don't keep your files organized. So for me, like, it's 30 something pages at this point. We're on page 33, and it's like, it's a little complicated. When it starts getting into like page 100 or like page 200, it's going to be like chaos. Like, if I don't keep a good file structure. All right. Let's see. We've got like a few more things of boring prep work. How's it? Oh, let's see. So Ronnie said, I just got out of my day job, heading home to work on the comic after being done working on a secret art project with another artist. Awesome. I will say, I'm going over to my friend's house, my co-member of No Saboteurs, and that should be actually pretty fun. I'm gonna add like a bass track to like a solo thing he was doing. I have about 7 songs completed for like a solo, or actually I think 8 completed for like a solo thing that I was doing. And so we might, in theory, because there's just no time I'm going to be able to record anything, but in theory we might be able to split an album. And then I still really want to have us release the No Saboteurs stuff, and maybe I'll play some of that as the stream is going if I start running out of content, and it won't distract my brain. So maybe I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of some of the No Saboteurs tracks that have just been sitting there delayed. Okay. Corey said secret art project sounds fun. Yeah, I think a secret art project does sound fun. I think it's funny. I feel like Corey and I have similar workflow. Not Corey. Bleh, sorry. Corey and I do have similar workflows, but I was going to say Gary and I actually have really similar workflows, I think. And so it's always interesting to me when we're both working on comic projects, because I feel like we're always kind of like at about a similar point in the process. And it's funny, I think we both have, I mean, we have differences, but I think we both kind of like have similar ways of structuring comics and stuff like that. Now, if only I could write as well as Gary Hodges, then we'd have a lot more similarities. But if you guys haven't checked out Gary's work, I really recommend it. Check out Dinosaurs versus Marsbots. It's a good comic. All right, so what do we have to do? I need to recenter and focus. Okay. Wow, it's funny. I sound like a hippie. It's the long hair. It's getting to me. Recenter and focus. Do you guys hear that? Okay. It says envelope. Okay. So this one's going to be page 33 is going to be an envelope close up that says Mr. Moulton Barrett. So the last scene, we've had the Brownings. I'm not going to recap the entire story. If you want that, you can kind of dig back into some of the previous live streams. But we've gone through a long journey, and now Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert are at Casa Guidi in Italy, which is like they're kind of like flat in Italy. And they go to the market with like Wilson, the maid, and Elizabeth Barrett Browning go to the market. Elizabeth kind of falls over. We find out it's because she's like pregnant and she's starting to have like some of the kind of dizziness and like lack of hunger and stuff like that. So Wilson pretty much tells her, it seems like you're pregnant. Then it goes on to the next panel, which is like a sequence of seeing Elizabeth gradually, her stomach grow bigger as Robert and her are kind of like having their living life together at Casa Gaidi. And now we're introduced to their kid at like an older age. That was on page 32 where they're playing. And basically Robert comes in and says, hey, Wilson says supper is ready. And then he basically pulls out this stack of letters and says, Ba, I'm sorry. Ba is his nickname for Elizabeth. And so she hands him the child, and then like he hands her the letters. That's the last page we see. So that's where we're at. Now the reason I recap that is just to get my brain in the right structure for like where we're at in the story, to feel like I want to make sure my brain is like sequentially going to be in play with the whole sequence and the emotion of it, right? So she's handed the kid, she's taking these letters, and then we see an envelope close up. By the way, that sequence where you see her getting gradually more and more pregnant, she's also writing letters to family, right? Trying to reach out to this family that's pretty much disowned her for marrying Robert. I know it's drama, guys, but this is a script for a comic. It's supposed to be drama. So anyhow, the page 33 starts with an envelope close-up that's going to say Mr. Moulton Barrett, 50 Wimpole Street, London. And that's her father. And then it's going to say return to sender. Boom. That's brutal. Elizabeth shuffles through the letters. They are all the same. That's going to be an interesting thing, like to work out sequentially, but we'll get there. She lets them drop to the floor, tears in her eyes. Still holding pen, Robert puts his other arm around Elizabeth. Don't cry. I cannot stand it, is what Robert says. Whew, heavy page. Simple page, which actually I'm kind of refreshed to possibly have a more simple page. So let's get into thumbnailing, and then we'll do borders and all that stuff. So the first thing I do, you guys will know, and it's not the quickest process. Gary said, alas, now I am not working. I'm trying to narrow down a top 5 movies list for the vid with Lujan this week. And I think that's on Wednesday, right? Is that going to be on your channel, Gary, or on Jim's? Let me know so I can kind of hustle it a little bit for you guys too. But I would recommend, if you guys aren't subscribed to Jim Lujan too, what are you doing? I mean, Jim Lujan is probably one of the most prolific animators alive, and he also happens to be in our friend group. And but for indie animation, the guy is hilarious and smart, and also happens to be a nice dude. And I think him and Gary are doing a little collaboration on a thing for like where they're going to talk about their favorite movies, which I think will be really good. Yeah, Gary said Wednesday evening sometime. Is that on your channel or on Jim's channel? Which you guys should be following both, but it'd be good to know so people know where to tune in on Wednesdays. And I'm going to try really hard not to have my stream cross. So we'll see. I'm not going to make that bad. Like a couple streams ago, I made the mistake of calling the not crossing the stream something from Spaceballs instead of Ghostbusters, because it was like 2 a.m. and I was exhausted. But I joked that was like an unforgivable sin. Like you don't get a pop culture reference like that wrong. I don't know. I'll let you guys in chat decide, but I feel like that was a pretty bad one. That was an unforgivable sin. Let me know. Do you guys believe in forgiveness, or do you guys think that is worthy of me having a Game of Thrones moment of like having to walk down the streets with people going, shame, shame. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get into thumbnailing this. Before we thumbnail it, we're going to do my basic thing that I like to do with this stuff, which is we're going to start with, well, first I'm going to save. That's always helpful. And I'm going to basically call this notes. Can delete the notes from the previous. And we're just going to write down first, like just to get it in my head, like what is this madness that I'm going to be getting into here? So shot one is going to be an envelope in Elizabeth Barrett's hands. Lovely handwriting I have, huh? You would think I don't hand letter comics. Okay. Number two is Elizabeth shuffles through the letters. They're the same. So maybe mid shot. E-B-B shuffles. This is where like comics are weird, right? Like how do you depict shuffles? How do you depict shuffling through letters? This could be 1 to 2 to 3 panels. Because I might need to show, like, you know what I mean? Like that's an action that, like, if you were filming it, totally done. Like just, but shuffling, that's a challenge. Dee Dee makes a really good suggestion. Hey, Dee Dee, I was just talking about you the other day. In a positive way. We were Frank and I were talking about how you are like the kindest person in comics in our community. One of the nicest people. Marsh, hell yeah! Our timelines crossed. We've crossed streams. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you, Marsh. Yeah, Marsh Makes Comics is awesome. If you, I'm sure most of you guys are following his stuff. He used to be under Donkey Jaw Projects. Really great cartoonist. Does a lot of fun live streams as well. Yeah, Gary was saying, I'm struggling with how to convey time has passed without using a caption. That is a hard thing to do. So yeah, we got a full house. This is pretty exciting. So we're breaking down a script. We're doing the boring stuff before we get into roughing it out. Also, I will say, like, I'm glad to have you guys watching this stream. Please stick around. But I will also say, dude, last night's stream was epic. It was like a Canadian version of my stream. Like we had 2 Canadians on, and they're both really awesome. And not only that, but like it what is the likelihood? Like imagine if I was in Canada doing a podcast or a show with 2 guests from the US. Just think how broad that country is. And then the fact they're 2 disparate, like people who haven't met that are united in our community. And then it turns out they both went to the same art school. Like that's, I mean, that is like providential or something. It's insane. So anyhow, I recommend you guys check that out. It was Christopher Runsman and oh my goodness, Philip. And so like who did that drawing that I showed at the top of this. So like it's a really Philip Chandler. Both of them have like YouTube channels. They're both really super talented artists. And they hadn't met each other, and they like I think they were at the same school at the same time, which to me again, like I don't know, that seems like that it was just a cool moment in the stream. But it was also a really fun conversation, and man, like they have knowledge of like some really good comedy bits and stuff like that. Yeah, I think Dee Dee's suggestion there, fan out the letters, is good. I'm struggling how to convey time pass without using a caption. And then Dee Dee said, with a clockagary. That's so good. And then Gary was saying, Dee Dee, I guess I walked into that. That's pretty hilarious. All right, guys. I do like the idea of fanning out the letters. So it could be fanning too. The only problem is I don't actually know the names that are going to be on all the letters. So it might be just a matter of like, we'll figure it out. Okay. This is not the thumbnailing stage yet. We're going to do thumbnails in a second. We're breaking it down. So we got our potential mid shot or fan. I'm going to write fan ? I like that idea though. 3. They are all the same. So they're all saying return to sender, right? And okay, that is going to be a research thing. Return to sender. What did that look like? What did the return to sender stamp? If you guys want to get a head start on this and help me out, in like 1850 in Italy or England, either will pass. What does the return to sender stamp look like? If not, we can invent it, but it'd be cool if we could be accurate with it. Dee, man, Dee on fire with the comedy today. I was like, what does the return to sender stamp look like? And she said, a stamp, probably. Nice. Okay. She lets them drop to the floor, tears in her eyes. So drops letters. I do think maybe a couple panels. We'll figure that out. And then it says, still holding pen. I think here we're going to need like Robert in background. Because like it's always weird if you're looking at something sequential and it's like a group scene and like you're focusing in on one character. I love it. Yeah, Marsh was saying it's got a picture of Elvis on it from 1850. It's like time traveling Elvis. That can be added to like my other project that I want to do, which is like my jet skiing, Uzi welding, Victorian epic. That I need an 1850s Elvis. He's like a time traveling Elvis. It's like Bubba Hotep kind of type character. Okay. Let's see here. So we've got 4. She lets them drop to the floor, tears in her eyes. Tears. The tears could potentially be another panel. We'll see. Because we might want to highlight that, or I might be able to depict it. We'll figure it out when we get there. Still holding pen. So Penn is the kid, by the way. That's their name for. And Penn is a boy, and she used to dress Penn in dresses all the time, like and like have him with really long hair. Okay, Penn. So she's still holding Penn. Robert puts his other arm around Elizabeth. So now we've got another action, like Robert with Penn, arm Elizabeth. EBB. You down with EBB? That was my... See, Marshall can actually flow. Like, you guys probably know this about Marsh already if you're following his channel, but Marsh did and does a lot of hip hop and amazing stuff like that. Oh, I think Dee sent me a thing on Instagram, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Oh my gosh, Dee, you are my research secret weapon. The history of British, it's like GBPS, the history of the postmarks of the British Isles. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dee. That's amazing. I just got it. I will check that out. Okay, so I'll have to pull that up. That's pretty exciting. I think that Dee has found the post, the return to sender stamp, possibly. All right, guys, here we go. We have Penn, arm around. Okay, he's putting his arm around EBB, and he's going to say, don't cry. Wow, this is actually going to be a really quick and easy page. You guys can quote me on that 2 hours from now when I'm still drawing it. How many times, I'm curious, like if you're in chat and you guys have seen these streams before, how many times would you say I've been like, this will be easy, this will be done in like an hour, and then it's like 4 hours later? I think at this point I've just accepted it's going to take however long it takes. Cool. All right, we've got a starting point. So we've got our list. I've got my notes. Now we're going to do a quick thumbnail, and thumbnails are fun. This is like before any of the research or anything like that. This is just a real quick doodle. We're going to figure it out. Yeah, messaged you on Instagram since you use a lot of letters in this story. Thank you. Those are going to be very helpful. And hopefully I can find like a return to sender stamp. If not, I think that's like one of those details we could probably get away with cheating. But again, like I'd rather, if I can, like within a timely fashion, like be really super historically accurate, I'd prefer to. You know, I don't want to do the Spartan battle where like one of the Spartans has like Chuck Taylors on, you know. Dee Dee said, I'm flipping through the site. Awesome. I have my researchers on hand. I appreciate it, you guys. Okay. I do at some point want to do a cover of Jim's John Henry Unicorn. I don't know if that's going to happen on this stream or possibly a future stream. I'm guessing because I need to wrap like this because I'm going to a meeting with a friend for an hour at 4. I'll probably hold that for another stream. Dee Dee said, you wouldn't think there would be so many postmarks. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. And I think like when like the more kind of broken into different regions, like mail is going to get, because you have less kind of consolidated regions of territory, then you have like disparate different postal systems like all shipping to each other, and the more kind of cooks in that kitchen, like the more stamps they're going to need, you know. Marsh, if you're still there, what are you working on, buddy? I hope all is well. I saw your stream. I think the last stream I saw, you were drawing, you're kind of experimenting with drawing on black paper. It was pretty cool. And it was like a Spawn drawing, which is awesome. As a guy who grew up like reading Spawn, I appreciate a good drawing of Spawn. All right. It was like the glowing hand one. He said it's 4 and 9 minutes here. Oh, yeah. 4. My stream's ending at like 4 Pacific. So right now it's almost 1. So I think we'll be good. Okay. Let's draw this. So, okay. First panel, we're just going to have like a letter. And this is just going to be a thumbnail. And then we'll do the rough from there. So first page is should it be wide? We're going from this panel. That's going to be good to keep in mind. Do we want to go wide? Can mess with going wide. I think that might be nice. Just kind of like highlight the impact that she's going to be feeling from this letter. Plus it's a letter, so that'll, you know, can have her hands kind of holding it. She's got this. Oh, cool. Okay, great. I don't even have a sleeve to draw. Maybe this finger can be kind of out a little bit. And we'll have it say, you know, whatever, like the type, and then it's going to have the return to sender. Return to sender. Now I got the Elvis joke. I am such a jackass. Marsh, this is how dense I am. I missed the Elvis joke and thought you were talking about like a Bubba Hotep like time traveling Elvis, instead of going with the very clear joke and bit that you like, again, like I've been outwitted in like in the best of ways, because as I was writing this, I'm like, return to sender, and then I was like, oh, Elvis. Yeah, you guys, I'm not very quick-witted, I'll be honest, guys. You can pull a pretty fast one on me if you guys want with jokes, because sometimes they fly right over my head. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. All right, let's see here. That was actually a really good joke. Because the address was unknown, you know. All right, so let's see here. Return to sender. Elizabeth shuffles through the letters. Okay, I do want this one to be more of a highlight on Elizabeth shuffling through the letters. Should it be like overhead where it's like her? I do like the idea of them fanned out. I like, you know what I like better? Okay, I think we're gonna find a happy medium, but I think Dee Dee, you're right about shuffling, and then I think it needs to have two panels where a different letter is at the top. Maybe one of them will be to like her brother or Arabelle. We're gonna have to kind of, I'm gonna have to remind myself of like the different relative lists, but so this will be like her. She's gonna be kind of, it'll be like an over shoulder shot. I shouldn't get in detail on this. And then it's going to be like fanning out the letters, but with one on top. And then the next is going to be like her kind of more stunned, like maybe her head's back a little bit. And this is a thumbnail, guys, so it's going to be real crappy. There we go. So this is going to be just kind of fanning out and seeing the same thing. Will there be a background? Maybe she's over her desk that's in the living room. Okay, cool. Don't worry about the thumbs. Oh, I love it. Dee Dee said, I sent you 2 more pictures if you get to that point. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. Sorry, Dee Dee. I'm peeking at this and it's like, that's incredible. This is the power of social media, you guys. Like, I am so excited. Like, Dee Dee, you just saved me a crap load of work. Marsh said, I'm feeling my way through darkness, just trying to find my purpose with comics. Hopefully that means I'll be working on something soon. That can be a rough spot, man. I mean, I almost think like half the time it's just a matter of like picking one thing, because it's like the infinite choices thing. That would be my tip. And you got to kind of feel your way through it. You'll find your way. But a lot of the time, if you're facing the infinite canvas, right, which is like an eternal problem for artists, where it's like there's infinite possibilities. We could go in any direction. Like, you know, there's a million things I love in art where like I want to do life painting. I want to do a kids comic. I want to at some point do a sci-fi comic. I'd love to do like every genre, and it's just a matter of like pick whichever project and just kind of stick through it to the end. Yeah, Paul was saying, Marsh, pick something and go. I agree. And like go full board, where it's like, you know, don't jump in too fast. Like pick the project, then like script it out, like rough it out, thumbnail it out, like do it to the best of your ability, and then like on to the next. Because it's like, at least at that point, then you'll have one project in the can. That's what I've been finding, like, because I did get paralyzed by that a lot I don't know if that's the paralysis you're dealing with, but yeah, you'll get through it, man. And also that's cool because like then you don't have to be as precious about it, because it's like whatever you pick is not your final shot. Like you just kind of pick your first shot, and it's like it's kind of like shooting anything. Like you can't delay, because if you delay, it's just like it's not going to happen. But pick a project, just go for it, and go in like hardcore. Make it an epic success or an epic failure. Gary said. I lean towards Paul Pate's school of thought. Even the wrong direction eventually teaches you something. Yeah, and like I would just commit to it and be like, whatever this is, I'm going to see it through all the way through the end. So if your vision is like, a 24-page comic, then just make the 24-page comic. Maybe start with something smaller, but honestly, I would, take on whatever, like one big project that you want to get done before you die, like honestly. I just lost a friend really recently, and that's been on my mind a lot in the last like week, where I'm like, dude, I got to go hard on these things, because we don't, like we're not here forever. So it's like because like I can say on this end of 2 books that have been finished, now that I'm on the other end of it, I'm like really glad that like with Jacob's Apartment, I just kind of went in full bore. And then with 2 stories, book 1, I went in full bore. And like now I can look back and I can be like, oh, I have 2 books, but like, are they everything I ever wanted to do? No, but it's like, it's like when I'm done with this, I'll have 3. And it's just kind of like the next one I'll have 4. But the only way that happens is just by committing to one book or one thing and like getting it done. But it is also the tragedy of art, right? Because we love, I don't know, for me, I love music, I love so many things, and it's like to commit to one is really hard. Anyhow, I should get back to rocking this, but hopefully that's helpful. Ha! Dee said, "Don't thank me too quickly. I sent a picture of my to my daughter of my dinner. You almost accidentally got that one. That would have been hilarious. We're like, hey, here's the thing you're looking for, and it's like food. I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. I guess a picture of food would work. And then identifying the dead ends is just as valuable as finding the thing you really you want to really dig into. I agree with that. And then Paul says, Marsh, biggest thing, believe in yourself. I agree with that too, dude. Like you just have, it's like a confidence thing where it's like, like if you go to a restaurant and you get stuck between like the menu of all possibilities, you know, like you can just be at the register forever being like, should I get like a hamburger or a cheeseburger? Because I really like cheese on my hamburger, but maybe I don't. And maybe I actually want it. And you could do that eternally, right? So it's like a matter of just like confidently like knowing what you like and being like, you know what? I like cheeseburgers. And if I change my mind halfway through it, whatever, I'm ordering a cheeseburger, and just order the cheeseburger, you know? Or like I've said in the past, Adam quoted me on this a long time ago, and I had forgotten about the stream, but I used to have a thing that I said in a vlog, which is like, pick your wizard van, right? Like there's a lot of people who like want to have like a wizard van, you know, like they want to like if your dream is to like have a big airbrushed rad, like, you know, like ridiculous like metal wizard van, and that's been your dream your whole life, like work on your wizard van. And if you can't do the wizard van, then like get a Hot Wheel and make the wizard van. Like you'll find a way to make the wizard van of your dreams, you know. Now, why did I bring up wizard vans? Because I'm a nerd. So, but that's what I'm, go make your wizard van, Marsh. I agree with Marshall on this too. And I would say that anyone who wants to debate me on this, the next time I have a stream, we could have a debate about whether this is true or not. I will back up Marsh on this to death. Like, he is so right. A hamburger without cheese is just wrong. I agree with that. Cheeseburger, hashtag cheeseburger gate. That's That's my movement, you guys. Hashtag cheeseburger gate. Don't let these companies sell you burgers without cheese. That's sinful and evil. Okay. Hey Adam, Marsh said I'm going to make a Wizard Van comic. Adam, I was just mentioning the Wizard Van stream that I had forgotten about, and you reminded me of it because I think it would apply to what Marsh was talking about, where he's trying to pick a project. And I was like, take your Wizard Van and make it. But I wouldn't have known to quote that, except that, Adam, you reminded me of it. Okay, Gary said a hamburger without cheese is a problem, but a hamburger without a bun, like using lettuce, is actually wrong. I will contend that they're both wrong. Hashtag cheeseburger gate. That is the big giant controversy, you guys. There's a lot of people out there who want you to have hamburgers without cheese. Don't let them convince you of this evil. Okay, so let's see here. September 18th, cheeseburger day. I love it. That's right. And by September 18th, we shall bring the world to cheeseburgerdom. Okay. Adam was saying hey to Gary and Paul. We got a fun chat today, guys. It's pretty cool. Okay, let me actually do some art here, some thumbnails. Okay. I'm like getting all distracted by Cheeseburger Gate, but it is kind of awesome. So he's going to put his other arm around her. I think I need... Okay. Okay, cool. We haven't established a side she's on. Is she standing on his... Okay, cool. Okay, the last time we saw, she's on his left, he's on her right. So I want to keep him on her right. So this is going to be her... Oh, letter dropping to the floor. My goodness, I'm missing something. I think that'll be kind of the angle, is like maybe it's a little bit... No. We're gonna rework that thumb. Okay, shuffling through the letters. And I have her drop the letter. I want it to be... I'm trying to think how we can see. Okay, we're gonna do overhead of her dropping the letter. Okay, that'll be it. And then we're gonna have Robert here. He's gonna have pen. He'll be kind of over here, off screen a little bit. And then we're gonna have him put his arm around her. She's going to be kind of looking up a little bit to him. He's going to be saying, "Don't cry, I can't stand it." Pen, underarm. There we go. Oh, I love it. Okay. And then there'll be text. I think we've got the layout, guys. I think that's the wiener of all wieners. Okay, so there we go. We have oh snap, you guys, this is gonna get... I'm telling you, there is some chat drama. Marsh is throwing down the gauntlet to Gary Hodges and saying, "Oh, now we're gonna get into it. Cheese is a must, but I'm happy to leave the bun." Oh my goodness. Gary, are you going to take that? Paul Pate said, "Hey, you kids." And then Gary said, "Comics, Marsh Makes Comics is banned." Wow, banned. All right, guys. I don't know if I would take this kind of no bun cheeseburger talk. All right, so I'm going to actually get into the rough now. And before doing the rough, we're at about almost the hour point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the trailer for Jacob's Apartment, and then I will come back and we are going to rough out this page, and we're going to rough it like the coolest pages ever known to man, done something. Okay, here's the trailer. And thanks, you guys, for joining me. I will be right back. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around breathing things. I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. Okay, I'm literally airdropping what Dee Dee sent because that's badass and that's going to help out a lot. Dee Dee, again, coolest person in comics. You see that? That amazingness? I don't even care if that's historically accurate. You know, like usually on this thing, I've been very meticulous about it, but I'm like, I just like it, like aesthetically. I like it if it's from like a different era than like some historical snob can get on my case about it. Dee Dee, you found the ultimate one. So I feel like Dee Dee's research help on this might deserve like a thank you in the book. I know the book is going to be dedicated to dedicated. Wow, I just learned a new word that is like a sticking point for me. But anyhow, this book is going to be dedicated to my sister's daughter, whose name is Elizabeth. Because again, my sister is a big Elizabeth Barrett Browning fan, and then Elizabeth was a family name too. So it's one of those, like, it was my sister's middle name. It's like a bunch of different people's names within our family lineage, but also Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And Elizabeth is my niece. So yeah. Anyhow, it's pretty cool. And then it's going to be dedicated to my son Ben too. So yeah. Actually, you know what? No, it might actually be dedicated to my mom because she's an English nerd. I don't know. But there's usually a thank you section at the back. And I got to say, all that research help is going to have to probably get a thank you. Oh, that's exciting, man. Adam said my copy of Jacob's Apartment I ordered should be arriving on Tuesday. Thanks for ordering that, Adam. I hope you like it. Like I was joking, like Frank was mentioning that you ordered it, and I was telling Frank like I'm gonna feel really bad if you don't like the book, like, and not like I just will feel really bad because I know that's not a small task, like you picking that up. So I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it, Adam. And if you hate it, I give you full privilege to send me a really long hate message, like detailing why you didn't like it. Okay, let's see here. I'm pretty sure you'll dig it though, but I hope you do. My third dream job was going to be a researcher. Oh, cool. That is cool. It would have been I think you would have been pretty good at it. All right, so here we go. We're gonna find. I'm gonna just steal my thumbnail borders from a previous thumbnail. Well, these are roughs now. So we're gonna open up one of these, and then I'm gonna grab these border roughs from a previous page, and I'm gonna drag them over because I'm keeping this simple, guys. All right. And we're already almost there for like the layout because there's a couple things I'm going to want to adjust. This is just a rough. Again, this is just to show my publisher and also to act as like a roadmap for what I'm going to eventually be doing for the final. And I do fairly detailed roughs now. I mean, they're not like crazy detailed, but they're probably a lot more detailed than they need to be. Because that saves me a lot of time on research and composition and just knowing what to do for the final. So I find that spending a little more time on it helps. Okay. But it is funny. Anytime I get back into roughs, I tend to be really tight. And so that'll probably end up happening because it's been a week or so since I've done roughs. And you get in this zone, like by the time I'm like, I usually have been trying to do these in like chunks of 5 and then do like 5 finished pages. And it's good I'm doing it kind of alternating like that. But usually by the time I'm on my 5th rough, I'm like knocking them out pretty quick and kind of really nice and loose and ready to rock. And then by the time I'm done doing finals again, I'm all tight and like having to loosen up again. Okay, so here we go. Adam was saying, I wonder why you think I might hate it. Out of all of your books, it seems like maybe the one I am likely to like the most. I think it will be up your alley because it does touch on a lot of themes of conversations we've had. And like, I think you will like it. So honestly, I think most people will like it, actually. I feel pretty confident in that book. But it's just one of those things of like, there's when it's friends, it's a funny thing, but it's like with my friends, especially my creative friends, I want them to be impressed with my work. I want you guys to like me. That's basically what it comes down to. So honestly, it's mostly just my own like nerdy insecurities where I want people to like my stuff. It goes away a bit. Like, I feel pretty darn confident about like 2 Stories and Jacob's Apartment. Like they're good books. Like I don't think they're bad books. But yeah, like whenever I know a friend or somebody I like trust the opinion of is like checking out my stuff, then yeah, it's a little more tense, right? Because it's like I want you guys to like my stuff. So yeah. Gary was saying Dee Dee is earning her 25% cut of Josh's profits. Dee Dee is awesome. Like she's rocking this business. But you've been very helpful. It's kind of rad. That's a fun byproduct. I've mentioned that on here before, but like when I started live streaming this stuff, I didn't quite realize like how, especially for like if somebody was working on a historical fiction book, I'd be like live stream while you're doing it because like it is cool. It's like I think together, like a bunch of us, like all kind of chipped in and figured out like the specific model of boat. Like I don't know if you guys remember, this is like a long amount of streams back, but it's like on the first page I was like stuck on like what kind of boat he was on. We figured out the boat that her brother was on, that he died on, that the book starts with. And it was like the historically accurate one was just hideous. Like it was a horrible looking boat. So we had to find a boat that like, anyhow, it was like a long-winded thing, but we ended up finding the right boat for it, even though it was the wrong boat. It historically was plausible. And it was like, it ended up being like a Victorian racing yacht. But it just worked. It worked really well. And that was all like kind of like a collaborative, just crazy, awesome, fun effort, like on everyone in chat's part. And like, it just made me realize like how cool it is. Like, and initially I just thought these streams would be like just hanging out, working on stuff. But like the fact that like people are down to kind of help out and like help with the research and stuff is just like makes it so much more fun doing these things. Adam said, it sounds like it could have been written specifically for me. Oh, well, thanks. I'm pretty excited about the karaoke stream, Adam. I'm going to try my damnedest to make it happen. At least for a little bit, I want to hop on there. Maybe do a little song or something. Oh, Dee Dee said, I've read hundreds of sci-fi and UFO stories. Call me if you need help, Gary. And then she said, the way you covered visions in the storyline was amazing. Yes, I agree. Some of Gary's coolest paneling was, are you talking about, Dee Dee, I'm guessing are you talking about the kind of, when the panels themselves start kind of like warping and stuff? It's one of my favorite things that Gary did from Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots. I love it. March was saying, often my comics are sci-fi or in a fictional world, so I don't have to be historically accurate. Yeah, this is my first one where I've had to be like accurate to like locations. Like on 2 stories, I really want to be accurate to the timeline and locations, but that's like a timeline within my own lifetime. It's weird when you have to stretch back. Gary and I have talked about it a lot, but when you have to stretch back a little bit further back in time, it's just like, it's amazing how many things become like, super problematic. Oh, one thing I do need to look up is like Victorian. I'm going to look up like 1850 letter, or I should look up envelope. Oh, that's pretty good. England. Okay, we got some results here. All right, that'll work. I'm just gonna grab this just so it basically looks like a regular letter, but at least this gives me a rough idea of like what the envelopes looked like and stuff like that. I just had like a real lispy kind of moment there where I'm like, "So guys, how's it going?" Like, yeah. I just didn't expect that. The fun thing about live streaming is every once in a while you'll have a moment where you're like, "So this is." Anyhow, okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna call this roughs, and we're gonna draw just a letter. Real easy. Easy peasy. We're just drawing a letter here. The letter is going to be to, I want to do it at like an angle. We're going to address it to Mr. Moulton Barrett. You guys, I'm doxing Mr. Barrett right now. Are you ready? Are you ready for Mr. Barrett to be doxed? Here we go. I know it's not the best thing in the world. This man who lived in 1850, everyone will know where he lived. There's been like movies about the guy. I think we're okay. Can you dox a dead person? Sorry. Okay. Mr. Moulton Barrett. I'm going to be like chased by his ghost. He's like, how dare you reveal where I lived? Okay, Wimpole. And it would be like him saying like, how dare you, sir? How dare you? And suddenly he's going to have a monocle when he's doing that, just because when you're saying, how dare you, sir, you need to have like a monocle going at that point. Adam was saying, cool, yeah, karaoke night Saturday, noon till midnight. Should have a time slot where you can make it, hopefully. Yeah, I'll try to figure it out. I got to talk to the, my wife. She's on a trip right now with the kid. They're picking up a friend's animal that we have to watch because we're friends on vacation. And then this will be like Elizabeth Barrett. And this one is Casa Guidi. Italy. Okay. And then we're going to have this letter has been refused. Where would they put that? They'd probably put it over the stamp because usually they're like canceling out the stamp. So I'm going to have it say like this. This is just a rough. For the final, we'll do this much more detailed. Has been. That's pretty cool too. That almost looks like the Refused logo. Have you guys ever heard the Refused, the band? It is one of the best. I agree with you, Dee Dee. We should change the numbers on it too. And it's going to be like the Queen. The Queen. The Queen of London has refused this letter. That's how it sounds when they refuse it. I'm here all day, guys. So we're going to just have the little refusal stamp. Got it. Okay. Now we got to just draw some hands. And we got one panel almost there. Okay, it says, let's see. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chats. So Dee Dee said, I think another problem in the future is going to be if young people even have the historical background to understand some references. I mean, can you see some kids saying Roswell? What's that? That's true. And then Dee. Oh, okay. And then Dee was talking about changing the numbers. So we're caught up in chat. Okay. I don't want to get buried by the chats. I do have a dog I have to let out in about 2 seconds, though. Oh, my goodness. Dee chipped in a super chat for the British accent. Thank you. Well, thank you. Oh, okay. I got to show you guys this dog. Here, hold on. You can come up. Oh, my goodness. So this little guy is telling me he needs to go out. So this is Bernie, just so you guys know. You need to go outside, dude? Yeah? Is it that time? It's that time? Yeah? All right, dude. Okay. We'll go outside. He's telling me with his paw. All right, bud. Come on. Scotch, I'll be right back. Come on, Scotch. You need to go too? Scotch. Go on. Go on. You can do it. Crazy little pup. Go on. Go on. Sorry, guys. Next time that happens, I will put on a trailer or something. And then Dee said Bernie's cute. And then Marsh said, if you get buried in chats, don't worry. I think they're I don't think they're that heavy. I love it. I love it, you guys. Do you remember what is it from? Was it Back to the Future where Doc Brown's kind of like, is everything just like is gravity work differently in the future or something? Because he keeps saying, whoa, that's heavy. It's like, why is everything so heavy in the future? It's pretty funny. Okay, so this is going to be Elizabeth. That is a giant finger. Let's ditch that real quick. Actually, that wasn't too bad. But still, I want to look at my thumbnail. There it is. Okay. We were going to have like, her finger is going to be like kind of up here, sort of around here. There we go. Much better. And then we're going to have this here. And this is going to be more kind of covering there. There we go. Okay. Just doing roughs at this point, guys. And we're going to go back here. I am down to play a couple of the tracks by No Saboteurs too. If you guys are interested, I could play one. But if you guys are enjoying just me chatting, that's fine too. Just let me know. I played a little bit of one yesterday for a couple of the folks on stream because they were kind of asking what No Saboteurs sounds like, which is like my post-hardcore band. And so I played them like a track, but if you guys are curious to hear some like post-hardcore, let me know. And if you guys are not, and you're kind of just enjoying my rambling, that's fine too. I can kind of keep it rambling. I'll just let the chats decide. I'd be more than happy to. I won't play like the whole 7 tracks or whatever, but I could play a different song. The last one I played was No Emperors, which I think you guys have heard, but a lot of these you may not have heard. Like the No Emperors one, if you dig in my channel, you might hear like a very rough cut of the more polished one that I played yesterday. But this would be like a bunch of new songs. Oh, and then let's see here. Adam said, good show last night. I caught up on most of it. Nice. And let's see here. Oh, Dee said, we can entertain ourselves for like 10 seconds. Sheesh. Well, that's good because I might have to head over there. And then Dee said, Doc Brown, see Instagram when you get a break. Oh, Marsh wants to hear it. All right. One last thing before I play it. Does anyone not want to hear it? Because if I hear any like don't do it, then I won't possibly. But since Marsh asked for it, and what is it they say at the end of like the wedding vows? Like if anyone like something about forever holding your peace. If you speak now or forever hold your peace, basically, if you guys don't want to hear it. I won't judge you. Oh, that's a great Doc Brown. Dee sent this. It's her Doc Brown portrait. Look at that. Isn't that badass? Very talented artist. That's hilarious. Doc Brown's great. Very cool portrait. Okay. That's your portrait, I'm guessing, right? Like that you did, Dee, because it's got your signature on it. Very nice. Dig it. Looks like it's mostly colored pencils. Was that done with like an underwash, Dee? Or just like solid colored pencils on tone paper? Okay, we're gonna finish up this panel. I think for this, it's gonna be more of just like a highlighted panel. I don't do a lot of like blank backgrounds, but on like a filler shot like this, it's not going to hurt to kind of highlight it and almost like old movie it, where it's going to be like, it gets a little darker around the edges. Let's see here. Oh, maybe Marsh was saying I do with the watercolors, because Dee said you need to do lots of watercolors, Marsh. And then maybe he was responding Dee, not to the music. And then Dee said just colored pencils. Do you have a comic or art project you're currently working on? They were asking Marsh. I think Marsh was expressing in chats earlier that he's been kind of just like in that kind of Pandora's box area of like kind of being torn between like what project to start. And I think most of us were just saying like just picking one. Oh my gosh, I totally erred there. Get back. Let's go back. Go back to where we once belonged here, guys. Might have to undo that. And might be too late. Might be too late to undo. In theory, I should have done all that on another layer. That's what we're going to do. Oh. Okay. We don't want to go back too far. I love it. Okay. Now we're going to redo that. Marsh said, I'm working my way to one. Haven't picked one yet, but soon. Yeah. And again, like, I think it's like the key is whatever you pick, don't have buyer's remorse. It's like that whole thing where, oh my gosh, there was a Radiolab episode. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys watch Radio or listen to Radiolab, the podcast. It's really good. But it was either that or This American Life, and I always confused the two. But the premise of the episode was they did this test about selection with a bunch of kids. And so it's like a really famous scientific test where they basically gave kids like, they said like hey, if you do this, you can pick, like, you get this chocolate as a reward or something. And then they had another set of kids, and they were like, if you do this task, then you can pick, like, you can pick any of these treats. And they had like a whole bunch of different candies. Same task, same reward, like, except one had a variety offered, and one was just told, like, hey, you're going to get this, like, this exact reward if you do the thing. And then afterwards, they polled which of the people in the test were most satisfied with their reward for their work. And it was ironically the people who had no choice, who were just given a chocolate. Whereas people, when they had multiple options, when they later reported on it, they'd like report that, like, they had regrets. They wondered, like, if they should have picked the other chocolate. And so it's like all the kids that had too much choice were just filled with, like, regret, because they'd be like, oh, I chose the wrong choice. Whereas the people who were, like, given really limited choices, or, like, I guess human beings, when we confidently just kind of go with one thing, like, we tend to be a lot anyhow. So don't end up in that, like, parallel of, like, if you pick something being like, oh no, I picked the wrong thing. Like that can do, I don't know, to me, that can do, like, horrors to an artist, like buyer's remorse kind of things. You know, basically, when you're at the shop, buy a cheeseburger with a bun, you know, because that's, I mean, hashtag cheeseburger gate. That's the reality of where it is, you know, where it needs to be. Okay. So I know I've gotten controversial here with my take on cheeseburgers. All right, we're going to get into the next set of roughs, which should be relatively simple. Although I got to let my dog back in. So what I'm going to do now, I think I will assume that somebody was asking for a sneak peek at my band No Saboteurs. So I'm going to play, let's see. We'll play The Emperor's Muse for you guys. This song's called The Emperor's Muse. And actually, this will be relevant because this song is about how if you're waiting for the perfect moment, the time is now, because basically these things aren't going to make themselves. And so maybe this will be apropos to some of the stuff we've been talking about. So here is the song called The Emperor's Muse. And if you guys dislike this, it'll be over shortly. I'm going to go let my dog in. Can you hear that?
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Good.
That is what matters. This song didn't write itself. Dreams are not purchased from shelves. They're bought with action, time and work. No silver matters. You keep waiting for a perfect moment, waiting for a miracle. The blood and sweat of those who sacrifice. You're waiting for a time, then the time will never come. of time. Time is right now, the time is now. Time is right now, the time is now. Time is right now, the time is now. Time is right now, the time is up. I know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
So what did you guys think? That was The Emperor's Muse by No Saboteurs. Be honest, if you guys thought it sucked, I want to know. But yeah, that's my my kind of like post-hardcore band. And that song is apropos to like what we were talking about, where it's like, hey, if you're waiting for the perfect moment, like the time is now. And I think that's a really, honestly, I kind of feel like that is like the reason I wrote that is like I know a lot of people in my life, like, you know, that like when I got my first book like published, were just kind of like, oh man, I want to get a book out. And I was like, well, work on it. And like they didn't. And it's like you see the, I don't know, at least at my age, it's like I see a lot of people who are waiting for like a perfect moment. Like they're waiting for like this miracle to like come and like do it for them. And it's like, no, just like the time is now to like do the thing you want to do. You know, and I know it's like seize the day and it's very cliche and stuff, but I do think it's an important lesson, because it's like, you know, even in that song, like one of the lyrics is, this song didn't write itself, right? Like you dreams don't just happen, like songs don't just make themselves, like you have to kind of record them. And March, like you totally get that, because like you're hustling and making music and like constantly making things, so it's like it's not a long stretch to just be like, all right, let's the time's now, like, you know. Oh, I have a really early Weezer-ish song on there too that maybe I'll play a little bit later. There's some, you know, variety to it. But he said, makes me think of a mix between Weezer and Ben Folds. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool. There's a song on there that I really can't wait to share with you guys. It's a very long song, but it's like it's a pirate sea shanty, and the whole thing is about a mutiny at sea gone wrong, and it's pretty cool. I like it. It's like very operatic and ridiculous, but it's like basically like a bunch of crewmates like all talking to each other about like overthrowing the captain, and then they end up on this like capsized ship, like this ship that not capsized yet, but like the ship ends up going into a storm. They've killed their captain, and like suddenly like they're like, oh crap, like we have no idea, like they were all excited and they're like, oh, we haven't been, you know, we've been dealing with like these poor rations and we're all hungry and this captain's terrible, so they like kill the captain, mutiny, and then they end up in a storm, and like the boat, like they have no one who knows how to run the boat, and so like the boat basically capsizes and they all die. It's like this, it's this brutal like kind of sea. But yeah, it's a fun song. Like it's weird, but it has like a sea shanty vibe to it. So I'll play that for you guys at some point. Maybe not right now. I don't want to. This isn't a music podcast or music stream, so I'll spare you guys just in case. I don't want to assume people who like my art like instantly like my music, you know. But maybe I'll play it in a little bit. All right, so we're gonna draw Elizabeth. And this is going to be like an overhead shot of her. And I'm paying attention to like my little thumbnail down there. And this is going to be the overhead shot of her kind of looking, but she has this like crazy hair. Like Elizabeth, like the coolest thing about Elizabeth Barrett Browning is just, she's a really fascinating looking person. I can't wait till we get into the villain of the story. I forgot to mention this story has like drama. It's not just about like the Brownings romance and stuff. Like it's going to get into some drama. There is a villain in this story, and it's not like the cliche Browning story where the villain's the father. The villain's like a historical figure. I can't wait till it gets into it, because there's also like seances, and this book is going to get real cool. And it's all historically accurate. It makes me so excited. to get further in the plot, because like, again, these are just these first like 30-ish pages are giving you like some brief history and some relationship building, so you kind of care about the Brownings, and you're invested in the outcome, and then like, oh man, when the villain's introduced, I'm excited about that just as an artist, because honestly it's just way fun to draw villains, like, and honestly it'll be the first comic I've done that has like a straight up like and what's great is historically this villain actually had like a villainous mustache, and I'm telling you, drawing like a badass like mustached villain is just, I don't know, it just sounds so fun. It's a very different thing than like a lot of the stuff I've been writing. So I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to kind of introduce you guys to that part of the script where you'll just be like, oh my gosh, it's really cool. It's like ominous and exciting. So anyhow, okay. So this is going to be her kind of shuffling through the letters. I think it's going to need to be like closer up. But we were going to have like the table sort of there. A little bit of an overhead shot of the table, where the table is going to be here. We're going to have, there was like a box that I think is like a box of letters up here. Let me know what you guys thought about the music, though. If you want me to play more, I'll happily put some on. Till then, I'm going to just kind of talk through the stuff, but I'm more than happy to play more of that. It's kind of fun to actually share it, because we've been like sitting on that demo for like over a year, and it's honestly like way overdue for us to put it out. So it's fun for me to like just be able to share some of the stuff. I have 7 tracks of a solo album too that I haven't uploaded or anything, but that hopefully I'll be working on today around 4. So again, like, these are roughs. They're just a little bit tighter than thumbnails, but the goal is to just kind of establish a little bit more of it. I might rotate this a little bit too. I like the idea of the light source being kind of coming from here, just to give it a little drama. And yeah, we're gonna get there. This is like, probably of all the pages I've done, this will probably wind up being the easiest thumbnail or rough that I have so far come across. And you guys have been following will know, because like there's been ones where it's like it's supposed to, and the great thing is I already know the interior here too, so it's not like insane. There are some of these where it's like, the page will say like she looks out into the street of like Florence, and like it's like a marketplace with like hundreds of people, and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to do a crowd scene and like all sorts of insane stuff that I'm like, I don't even know if I can draw this, but like this is like just a basic like environment. I'm gonna kind of zoom in a little more on her, but it's like this part of the script, at least at this point, kind of feels a little bit like child's play, like in a good way. Not like the horror movie Child's Play, which would be a different game. Adam said, what is the message of the sea captain thing? So the crux of it is my critique on pure anarchism. We have like 2 kind of critiques of anarchy, like, which is funny. So they kind of are empathetic to like the purpose of anarchy, but then also like sort of highlight some of the realities of what anarchy would actually look like. There's another song we have that is basically about like, yeah, they're crazy songs. I should let the songs speak for themselves, because we spent a lot of time on the lyrics. But yeah, the crux of the sea shanty one is like more just kind of like if you're going to take out the captain, you need somebody who can steer the ship. That's basically the crux of it. But it's also just like a fun, like, it's weird because it's like it's not necessarily like heavy on messaging. It's also just like a tale, you know, like a sea shanty tale. I'll have to play it for you if you guys are curious. I might be able to put it on. That one's really long though, because that's got like a lot of build up and patience and, you know, stuff like that to it. That's probably our most like kind of ridiculous song, very like rock opera ish. All right, so we've got Elizabeth looking at letters. Good. Now I'm going to move this one down, and we're going to work on our next rough, you guys. It's kind of nice to have a page that isn't a headache. I don't know if you guys get that, but like almost every comic page is a headache. So it's kind of fun to have like a nice break page, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. I wouldn't want to design a book where it doesn't have challenging panels, but it is nice when you receive a little bit of a simpler panel. Dee Dee was saying, will I need to be looking up ectoplasm reference? Possibly. No, there's no, like, it's weird. This is a true story. So it might hint at something beyond the grave, but it's always going to be hedged in reality and things that actually happened. But there's a bit to it that's just very dramatic and cool. Philip said, I've been listening for over half an hour. I should say hi. Philip, I hope it was okay that I started the stream with your wonderful portrait. I was insanely flattered by that portrait. It was just like, it was one of the kindest things somebody's done. It really made my day. So thank you for that. That was, I should show that off real quick. Let me show that real quick before, let me go ahead and put it on full cam, and then I'm going to show off Philip's portrait super quick. Oh, there it is. I absolutely, I mean, how can you not get a kick out of that? That's an excellent caricature. I'm so stoked on that. So I'm going to probably have that be like a brief loading screen. Like if I ever like pause or disappear, it's just like, that's a solid caricature, dude. And also very flattering. So thank you. But also I think you captured my crazy hair when I'm like all worked up. All right. So you know what, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way through this second one, which is going to be her kind of rifling another letter. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and follow Marsh's request where he said, I'd be curious to hear any of the songs from you and your band. So let's play number 3, To the Bottom of the Sea. This is the pirate shanty. This is a long one, so bear with me, but it's fun. And we'll work on this while we're listening to it. This is the song about the pirate ship capsizing. And I'm really stoked on it. So here it is. And I wasn't kidding about the sea shanty, see? That's also a pump organ we're playing. I told you guys it's a long one. Bear with me. But Gary, I'll address your question in a second too. All right, so that's the crazy epic mutiny at sea song. Oh my goodness, am I still there? Because I'm noticing my connection's being all weird. I'm hoping I'm there. Let me know if this is still coming through. But anyhow, that's the crazy mutiny at sea song, the really long one, where it's like they overthrow, like they literally cut off the captain's head, put it on a pike, right? They even have a part of the song where they talk about really liking his head on a pike. They're all excited. They're having a party because they've killed the captain. And then they hit a storm and they're like, oh crap. And then they all die. But like as they're dying, they're like, oh no, we need the captain. And of course it's like, it's a little bit of an ironic twist, but it's a fun song. So that was that was our sea shanty song. And okay, so Gary had a really good question, which was whether you can play songs without like a copyright issue. So Marsh is dead on about that. Like for my solo album, since that's already released, if I play songs from that, it will cut the funding from my video and send it to me. Like it's weird. So it'll tell my video that I can't get advertising revenue on it on YouTube. And technically I'll still make money off of it because it'll take that revenue and then source it to me through the distributor that I have my music through. But it's a pain in the butt and it delays like monetization a lot. If it's not your own work, like if you took one of my solo songs and put it on your video, I'm going to get paid for your video. And that's kind of how it tends to work. And it's like, you don't have a lot of control over it because it just kind of auto crawls and can tell wherever online is using your music. And then it just funnels the money your way, which is kind of cool. But I'm not going to get that happening with this because this is unreleased music. So. And then, okay, cool. And then Frank was saying I'm still there. And then Frank said, what did I walk into? It's a lot of lot of fun stuff. We were playing some music. I was playing a little bit more of No Saboteurs, just while we're working on roughs. And I'm going to probably work on this next panel. We're getting closer, guys. We're getting closer to this page being done. But I really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out. And I hope you guys are making progress on your own personal projects whilst here, or at least being entertained. Are you not entertained? I still love this. The letter has been refused. Like, I can't not read that in like a ridiculous Queen voice. It's just there's something funny about like a kind of, like, maybe this is the American in me that gets all cocky, but when I see like a crown over a rejection letter for a letter, I'm just like, it makes me want to revolt. It's like that makes me want to like have a revolution. I'm like, why would you put a crown over, like, really a crown? Like, hello, yes, this letter has not been approved by the great Queen. Anyhow, sorry. If you're British or you have like a patriarch or monarchical kind of society, that's all for, more power to you. But I don't think I could handle it. I don't think I could handle like, presidents are annoying enough. I don't know if I could handle like a queen or a king. I don't know. Presidents are annoying enough. Adam said it sounds like an argument in favor of anarchism rather than against it. Well, it has a nuance to it. It has a nuance to it because it's at first very anarchistic, and then at the end it's like showing sort of the results of a leaderless society can be pretty detrimental. So it's like nuanced, like all of our songs are pretty weird and nuanced, but you can take from them whatever you want. They definitely aren't like, this letter has been refused. Okay, so let's get back to drawing. Frank said, I got into a funk. I'm just laying down, but I'll get up in a minute and draw something. Frank, I looked into some of the stuff you talked about on the last stream, and holy crap. That is some drama. That's all I have to say. Marsh said, reality is nuanced. I agree with Marsh on that. Yeah, I think there is nuance to it. That's basically it. Like, that's kind of my take on it. Like, I can see pros and some big cons to the same thing. And I like depicting both and kind of dancing in that ambiguity a little bit with songs. I think it's a lot of fun. You kind of paint the pros and cons. I should play you our pure song about anarchy. We have one that's really heavily about anarchy, but that one's crazy too. I'll play it for you at some point. Maybe later. Okay. Man, I'm giving away all our songs. Gary said that's awesome, LOL. I love it. All right, so what do we have here? We have... Oh, what was I going to do? I just needed to... I got distracted talking about music for a second there, guys. My brain is all over the place. Where is it? Okay, I need this. I want to look at this because... Not this. This. Because we're going to do an overhead of her. And I want to be able to reference the costume. Okay, so here she's going to be dropping the letter. Okay, got it. Would it be good to have it like... Now I'm wondering if it would be good to have like kind of an upward view, like where you'd have like the hand kind of here like that, and then the letter like flying down there. Is that too dramatic to have like, and then Robert's here like looking concerned or something? Maybe we can feel that out. I mean, that's the beauty of roughs. Let's feel that out. Marsh said, I talked to somebody who said they were a Christian anarchist the other day. It was an interesting, I'm guessing that was an interesting conversation. Yeah, I just don't particularly agree. Like, I don't tend to be, like, as much as I love punk rock and stuff, I don't tend to be very much an anarchist myself. Because, yeah, I think as much as I dislike leaders, we need leaders. We're like hardwired to follow people. And so I think when we take out the follower, well, anyhow, I don't want to get too heavy into it, but my point is, like, I think when we sometimes take out authority figures, we end up with worse authority figures. It's not bad to question authority. It's not bad to, like, have, you know, authority challenged or anything like that. But at the end of the day, like, when I see like a group of like 5 people, inevitably like one person ends up becoming the leader of that group. Like, it's like we're pack animals, you know, like we're prone to have we're prone to have a leader. And so the weird thing is, if we're not selecting that leader democratically, then the leader might be self-selected or even more democratically elected, which could just be like super strange. But I also know, like, some people, you know, think there's a possibility of like a coercion-less society. And I don't agree with it, but, you know, whatever. Like, I'm not against it. I just don't see that society ever happening, because everything is coercive. Like, that's the hard part. So, like, asking for that kind of society is like asking for something impossible. That's my take on it. I love the idea of it, but I feel like it's too idealistic. But that's just my own take, you know. And by the way, that goes for like right and left. Like, I you know, that's a cross party line, because I know there's a big like libertarian movement that's kind of very like anarchistic. There's ANCAPs, and then there's like anarcho-socialists. So there's anarcho, like all sorts of everything. Like, and I don't know. I disagree with the premise altogether. I love the idea of more freedom for people, but I just don't see a society working like that. That's my own take. You don't have to agree with it either. Adam was saying, yeah, that's the thing. Marsh was saying in the Bible, he didn't want basically Israel to have a king initially, and then the people asked for kings. That's true, but that's in a scenario where it was the chosen people and it was God's kingdom, right? And so God was directly going to lead them with smoke and a literal, like a cloud of smoke and a literal Ark of the Covenant. They had the presence of God with them. They didn't need a leader. That was the whole purpose. We don't have the Ark. Like, that's the point. We're not Israel. I know there's like a lot of people who like thinking we're the new Israel, but there's a few promises that apply to, like, you know, us, like, for sure, like the promise of redemption and stuff like that if you're a Christian. But it's like, I don't see any church like having the physical manifestation of God in an ark, like that they're able to lead before their armies. Like that's the big difference, you know, for me on that. I don't want to get too heavy into it, but that'd be the big one. I feel like that mistake is made by a lot of evangelicals, though, like where they will just kind of assume that every promise given to Israel was given to, you know, Christians. And it's like, that's not true at all. Like, in the slightest. Like, you know, even Paul talks about it, you know, like Paul talks about like how there's neither Jew nor Greek, like, and no, nor woman nor man, and like, you know, that Christ is like the fulfillment of the law, but like still there's specific promises given to Israel that have nothing to do with, like, the US could disappear, and those, like, if you're a believer, like, you know, we could like literally not be here, and the, like, it doesn't affect the outcome of the Bible at all. like the US could be important, but we could also very well just not even be a player in you know, any of it. Yeah, Didi was saying they also believe all curses apply to them. They don't divide the new covenant from the old covenant. Good, very good point. Good point, Didi. Marsha pointed out a really important thing. He said, we know from Indiana Jones the Ark of the Covenant is a huge government facility. But anyhow, like, so I'm not the only writer in No Saboteurs too. Like, my close friend, who's like the other member of it, is like a total atheist, and not in like a negative way. He's a really nice guy. He's just an atheist philosophically. So that's interesting too, because we have a writing dynamic where we tend to agree on philosophy and stuff, and mostly like politically agree, but like we definitely come at different topics from like different spiritual angles, right? Because he's like an atheist and I'm a Christian, so, and I'm a weird Christian. Like I don't view myself as like a she doesn't look troubled enough here. Like, I like that angle, but I want her to have more of an expression that's a little exaggerated. Anyhow, so it makes for an like, to me, like, all of this stuff like makes for really interesting art though. Like, whatever your philosophy in life is, I think just having some kind of philosophical thought or bearing like really enriches work, you know. But it is funny anyhow. The only reason I was mentioning that is, Marsh, I've met people who've made like similar kind of almost like ANCAP arguments, like from like a religious standpoint. It's always very fascinating. Like, I don't know, it's interesting. But I love that point. That's, I think the most salient point here was the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones. That was, if there's anything to be taken from this, it's that. I want this to actually be the scattered letters. She's going to be dropping all the letters here. So we're going to have some letters coming at you. You got to protect your neck. One thing I love, Marsh, is like, you're one of the few people that I could say like one thing like that and you'll know what hip hop reference that was. I still, we gotta, Marsh, you and I should do a stream where we talk about our favorite, like, Jim and Gary are doing like their top, 10 movies or top 5 movies. We should do a stream that's our top 5 hip hop albums. We don't even have to play them. We could just explain like they're our top 5 and why. I think that would be really interesting. I feel like Marsh has done that though, but yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right, Marsh. All right, so we're almost there. I want to have Robert over here, and he's going to be kind of looking at this. And if you guys are digging the music stuff, let me know and I can play a little more. Marsh said it could be fun. I'm down to stream with you anytime, dude. Cool. We should do it. We should do one. We'll cross our streams. I'm gonna keep mentioning the crossing streams thing because I want to make fun of myself for getting that reference wrong back. Like there was literally, I've told you guys this a million times, I guess, but a couple streams back, I said that was from Spaceballs instead of Ghostbusters. Frank, in a horrified manner, called me out on it. I was like, "How dare you, sir?" Calling that Spaceballs reference was unforgivable. I was thinking about doing a Basil Wolverton inspired depiction of the Book of Enoch, like his off the wall stuff, especially. Nice. Yeah, for those of you who may not know, I mean, I'm pretty sure most people, like, you know, following my streams and stuff, like, know Marsh. But if you guys haven't followed Marsh yet, you should, man. Like, Marsh is a musician, a cartoonist, and an all around awesome dude. Who's been like I feel like Marsh, we've been around for a while. It's like weird, but it's like time has passed and we have been in this community for a very long time. And anyhow, but Marsh also does hip hop and electronic music, sampling, like all sorts of really cool stuff. So it's worth checking out his channel. Yep, that was it. That was the trick. I like that angle. It's a little unusual, but I kind of dig it. So here is going to be the. I'm going to have, like, just to give it a little depth, a little more depth, I'm going to have this be the edge of that table. The edge of the table is right here in Abel. Let me know if you guys want to hear more music, though. I think somebody mentioned Weezer, and there is a song on here that's very like pop indie, Weezer when they were good kind of stuff. And the roof of this is such a weird thing. The roof of this, I feel like it's kind of, I've got this kind of interesting like Victorian era roof. There's gonna be like a chandelier. Oh my gosh, did I? I want to. Okay, I can't sing the rest of that, but I said chandelier. There's a song that will come to somebody's mind when I say that. That would get me demonetized if I. The other thing is, even if I tried to sing that song, like the second it gets to that la here, I would just choke up and die trying to sing that. And if that song is now stuck in your head, you're welcome. Okay. Adam was saying that would be a great candidate for an artificial intelligence assisted project. Sounds really fascinating. And he said, "Have you heard of the Book of Giants?" And then Dee said, "I just followed someone on Instagram illustrating the Bible using AI. That's interesting." And then Marsh said, "Thanks, Josh. Yeah, very true. We've been around since illustration party time and art and story, etc." Yeah, we've been around. Marsh and I have been around so long. There's stuff we used to do online that doesn't even exist anymore. Like it's so old, it's faded from existence. Some of the content we made, which is kind of a testament to, I guess, how long we've been around at this thing called art and story and making comics. But you know what's funny? We still love comics. Still love comics. You gotta love comics. Let's see. All right, guys. There we go. I'm digging that. I like that angle more. It's got more dynamism, if that's a word. Okay. So I've definitely been streaming for 2 hours now. So we're going to play a trailer for a little bit for 2 stories, and I will be right back. In theory, I'm playing that. Okay. Here it is. All right, we're here. We're hanging out. We're making art. Oh man, there's so much awesomeness going on about Gilgamesh and the Book of Giants, and like just some crazy awesome stuff in the chats. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm kind of in the mood of like sharing this music, so if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna share one more track. And let's see. This one is about the heartless existence of just commuting to work endlessly and kind of like losing your soul in traffic. That's the gist of this song. And this one's a lot more poppy than a lot of the other stuff on here, but this is an interesting one. So let me know your thoughts. This is my band No Saboteurs with my friend Josh Patterson.
self. It's only self. Barely awake back in this place. I have to fake my way through days, stumbling through day to day. Another day, another day. Where is your soul? Just how do you reach? You have to take your own road. The book of your life is not yet full. Money ruins everything now. Money ruins everything now. Oh, the book of your life is not yet full. No time to. The book of your life is not yet full. Our work to do. The book of your life is not yet full. No time to wait. The book of your life is not yet full. Our work today. Life is not yet full. No time to play. Where is your soul? Just how do you reach? You have to hold. Take your own road. The book of your life is not yet full. Money.
So yeah, that was a song. I don't know what's going on. I've been oh, hang on a second. It's playing again. I didn't realize that if I leave it. Okay, I'm gonna pause that. Okay. If I leave it, apparently it just keeps cycling. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening in chats, but just so you guys know, like I was experiencing some like major lags on my Photoshop for a second. I had to like close it out and then kind of start again. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of finish this up. And then, but I will say there's like a lot of really cool conversation happening where Dee Dee was talking about streaming for 12 years. Frank was asking if Dee Dee's been on Artcasters. I think we should try to have Dee Dee on Artcasters, actually. That'd be really cool. And then Dee Dee was talking about Jeff streaming longer, which he has, I think. And then Gary was saying an opportunity to bring up Raiders of the Lost Ark, one should do it. And then Frank was saying, yeah, he was one of the first Artcast streamers. Oh, okay, I kind of see what's happening here where for some reason, GarageBand was opening. So that would be a good thing to close. That might be what was slowing things down. Marsh said, a bunch of YouTube vets here. Yeah, I think I'm like, I've been on YouTube for longer than I realized because I used to do, back when I was doing Threadless, I did a few like time-lapse videos on Threadless for like t-shirt designs I had done. And like, I wish I had known at the time the coolness that is the YouTube community. So I was a bit of a late starter, and then I got coaxed into it by Kevin Cross, who was kind of saying like, dude, you need to try this out. And obviously, like, as we all know, like YouTube is very addictive and awesome, and not just awesome, but like I have just grown, especially since starting live streaming. I have just really grown to love the ability to kind of work on it. There's just something cool about us all being able to work on art and like hang out, you know, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I've made really good friends through YouTube and through the Artcasters. I'm forever grateful for Jeff, like having invited me on to the Artcasters at first and just being so cool about it. And then meeting Scott, and like, I don't know, it's been a cool ride. But it's funny. I've known a lot of people in this community that like go back to like podcasting days, you know. Nellie Singh said, "Did Joshua zoom in on any of his well illustrated panels, putting in hidden messages like if you can read this, someone is standing behind you?" I love it. I'd like to. Okay, so this is going to be Robert. Kind of, he's got his suit. This is going to be Elizabeth looking up at him. This is a rough, by the way, that we're working on. We're working on roughs now, not the crazy, well-illustrated stuff. Drew her face a little too big. That's okay. We'll just shrink it. I want her to look more sad. Okay, I think I've made a mistake here. Hold on. Let's get that face back. I need to look at my thumbnail more. This is going to be her looking down, actually. Much better. Much better. So we're kind of working out the, like, blocking out how this is going to look. I think her head should be like real close to his face. Like he's kind of leaning in and giving her a hug. So that's going to inevitably need to be a little closer. Maybe even that close. That's pretty good. And then we're going to have the kid, her son, who's got like extremely feminine features, somewhat. Not feminine features, but they grew his hair really long and had him wear like dresses and stuff. Which is actually, you know, it's like now that's not like a super shocking thing, but at the time it was like this very like bold kind of insane thing. A lot of people wrote about it, but now it's like, you know, that's pretty normal. Like, let your kid wear whatever the hell they want, you know. But at the time, this was like extremely like they were kind of the weird art couple to like a lot of people. That being said, it might be worth mentioning like Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning were Christian, like very, very strong believers. It's kind of weird that like some of the stigmas that exist now with like some religious folks that didn't exist back then in like the Victorian era, like it's kind of interesting. Yeah, so let's see here. Got the kid's hand is going to be here. He's just working out the pose, guys. Oh yeah, thank you, Nelly. Nelly said, keep pressing that like button, show some love, and press that sub button too. Yes, thank you. Please do. Gary said, I think Marsh was one of the first comic channels I followed when I was getting started. Nice. I think Marsh and I are similar in the sense, like, because Marsh was saying Adam's like a big West Coast fan, and I think Marsh, you and I are kind of East Coast, a little more into the East Coast vibes. Am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe Marsh. I do think you liked a little bit of West Coast, but I feel like, um, I don't know. Although I gotta say, I really do dig Kendrick, man. I think Kendrick's the most talented hip hop artist around right now. Which is, I know this is a hot take, but I think Kendrick Lamar is a pretty good MC. That's a joke. I think for anybody who's a hip hop head, it's like, I don't think I'm saying anything like crazy controversial there. Man, there's some really great conversations happening. Everybody's talking about, like, look at like all this beautiful community going on. There's a great conversation going on about hip hop in the chats and about everybody loving everybody else's channels. This is what I like about our comic community. I know it's weird, but it's like, if you guys go to like most other comics communities, they're just like, well, not most, but there's a bunch that are just like super toxic and like full of just like crap talking and insanity. And it's like, I love that we have a community that we can talk at, like, even on this stream. Like, I've talked about my religious beliefs. I've talked about like, um, like my belief on like anarchy and stuff like that. There's people who disagree, and it's weird, but it's like we all get along and we all love each other's art and channels, and we're able to have conversations. I don't know, like, I don't want to. I want to highlight that because I don't know. I just don't want to take it for granted that that's our community. Like, I think it's cool that we have that kind of positive community, and I think we're all really interested in like people just making cool art. That's just, I don't know. To me, that's really exciting. I just wanted to let you guys know I appreciate you guys, and I'm a little proud of our pretty badass, like, diverse, interesting, crazy, quirky community. Her hand should be like this, actually. Maybe a better. I want her other hand kind of back here. And there's going to be the letter, the last of the letter. Robert's pulling her close. And then she's going to be kind of being pulled over, like, just getting the gesture, guys. That's the beauty of like roughs, is like you get to work all this stuff out. Yeah, Marsh was saying that's what I've experienced so far too. Nice, positive. Oh, Philip said he has to split to take care of more chaos. Not more chaos. I'm sorry, Philip. Poor dude has been having a rough one. I hope it turns out a little clearer for you soon, man. I feel like here's the thing, like, I'm like that with punk rock too. I think this tends to happen where like there's people who really like a good example, like I think Kevin was really like, I mean, he likes East Coast punk, but like Kevin's jam, like, for a long time was like the West Coast, like, punk, like the punk on our side of the coast. Whereas for me, like, the DC sound of punk rock is like my absolute favorite sound. It's like I think it's just like unrivaled. in like how good it is. There's something about it that just connects with my soul, right? Whereas Kevin, like, you know, a lot of the like stuff that connects with him is like Bay Area, like definitely West Coast. Um, and a lot of that's like he was part of that movement. You know, it makes a lot of sense. Don't get me wrong, he loves DC sound too. And is, you know, was in bands that were influenced by the DC sound and like some of the more like, you know, East Coast stuff. But you know, like and who's into punk rock who doesn't like the MC5 and stuff like that? Like there's definitely stuff you just can't avoid that's not, you know, from the West Coast. But I feel like it's that way with hip hop. Like for me, the hip hop I connect to the most is like Wu Tang, 36 Chambers, like Tribe Called Quest, um, like Low End Theory, you know, like Nas. There's just like I don't know. There's like a sound that's East Coast. Even Kendrick, like he's West Coast, but his style is so heavily influenced by East Coast. It's like I don't know. That's the stuff that connects with me. You know, even like the Beastie Boys, as corny as it is, I know there's a lot of people who trash that are like hip hop fans and stuff like that. But honestly, like the big hip hop heads I know love the Beastie Boys. And again, like the Beastie Boys, that's like New York, man. So anyhow, point being, that's just like the stuff I've always vibed with the most wasn't from my side of the coast in hip hop, except now, like because now again, like I'm not kidding. And there's also like the Atlanta sound, like Outcast. You know, it's like there's that kind of early crunk when it was like just like Aquemini, like these. uh Oh my gosh, like there's a lot of like great hip hop albums. There's also the Hieroglyphics. I absolutely love the Hieroglyphics. Early like Deltron, you know, like that stuff's so good. There's the Far Side. I like there's just I don't know, there's too much. Marsh said, "Are you stopping at 4? I'll probably start a stream after yours. The best West Coast hip hop are the ones that are heavily influenced by the East Coast." I agree. I just personally, I think the East was for a very long time like where it was at for hip hop. They were doing all the artsy stuff, you know, like the real crazy artistic stuff, and then the raw stuff, like just the rawest. Like they took the raw stuff and then they made it like hard to explain, but they just made it with class. Marsh, I should be finishing in about 5 minutes. Like I'm gonna wrap the stream when I finish this page. So if you wanna like if you guys want to continue this, and Marsh, if you're down, if you're planning on streaming, I can just kind of recommend people go to your channel and follow this up. I will be back. I have to go to. I'm going to my friends after this. To the guy that co-wrote all those songs with me. I'm going to his place at 4. So I probably am not going to be back till about 5. So I will be back here potentially streaming, or March if you're still streaming around then I can hang out and work on a rough or something. I don't know. But yeah, although it's hard for me to have conversations with people one on one while I'm working on roughs because I have to like kind of talk through stuff. But yeah, I won't be back streaming till about 5. I think that's actually going to wrap it though, you guys. So Marsh said he's setting up a stream right now. So I would encourage everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream. If you haven't yet, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. Especially the bell, so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. I think Marsh is going to be running a live stream pretty soon. So I encourage you guys hop over there. I really love the idea of our live streaming community being all interweb connected like that. And I really appreciate all of you for hanging out and hanging with what I'm doing and stuff like that. And then Dee Dee said, I'll try to get back if you stream later too, Josh. Awesome. I am planning on trying to do another another stream around like 5. I would say like 5 or 5:30. But yeah, hang out with Marsh. Marsh, I would hang too, but I'm gonna go eat some food, feed my dogs, and then head over and work on a little bit of music. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and hanging with Mr. Kemble. Said Frank, and then Marsh said it was a fun stream. Josh, thanks. I appreciate you guys. Again, I love this community. You guys are amazing, and have fun at Marsh Makes Comics on that channel. And we'll see you guys. Like, I'll see you later in the day when I'm streaming. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye. Oh my goodness. And Dee Dee just snuck in a little donation cup of coffee for you on the way. Appreciate that. Joshua said, rap it while talking about rap and hip hop. That's right. It's time to rap. I love that. Thank you guys. All right. Have a good one. And thank you, Dee Dee. I appreciate the super